So, Andy, thank you for joining and agreeing to provide us feedback and your reference. So, first question. When did you heard for the first time that LINET is going to work on this digital part of its business with third party, with external company, with us?
It's just shy of 2 years ago.
Yeah. And
Yep.
what did you think? What was your first idea about that?
Honestly, my company has a tendency to outsource things when they don't have the internal ability to do it, and it doesn't usually give us a good quality outcome. Usually requires far too much input from our side to get an output. And often I look at it as just being, a series of frustrating steps and meetings to get another team up to speed, and the quality output is typically very poor. And I honestly, I went into this relationship with a slightly negative attitude towards it because I have seen it work poorly in the past. And January would be my 10 years here at LINET. So I've seen plenty of third parties come and go. And I have rarely been impressed by the ability of their groups to bring any quality to our process.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's shocking sometimes to hear because I probably never told you about that. Because I have to say in the beginning, I gave you in the US we call it kind of giving you lots of rope, and I gave you lots of rope to hang yourself. And it turned out you didn't hang yourself. You made a bridge, and you delivered far beyond what I expected. And I hope that you understand the level of pride I feel that we were able to make a relationship between our two companies that turned out a superior product, because I did not have that expectation. I honestly had the expectation that when we started, I was going to end up having to hire a third party here in the US to fix the disaster that came out of it.
So what is the product of our cooperation?
We produced a fully functional pipeline between the beds and most third-party data acquisition devices like nurse call, bed exit system, advanced bed exit systems, care boards, ADT system. I mean, we've taken the whole gamut there, but probably the crowning achievement is what we found is that, that's not really what everybody wanted. Once we gave it to them, they found that what they really wanted to do is just simply see the status of all their beds. And now we've come to the market with a great dashboard that's cost effective, simple to use, requires little to no input from the staff, and is highly flexible. And the best part of it is it was so flexible that within the last few months, we found another use for it, and that was to be an adjunct alarm for bed exit. When we had a customer come back to us after unfortunate number of events and asked how we could help, and it turned out with a simple change of some code, we were able to modify the dashboard to impact a very serious problem they were having. So we not only developed a product to do what we originally set out to do, but we ended up developing a product that was very flexible, was easy to meet the needs of the customer, and really gave us a springboard to go forward in the digital expansion of our company.
And can you see any business impact already of our
Yeah,
cooperation?
about what I in general terms, I don't think that the sale of the safety port product itself is a huge moneymaker, in that it's a small cost compared to the capital purchases of the bed. But I would say probably 30% of all of our sales last year were connected in some form or another with either having safety port currently on it, future planned, or it was a must have in the contract. So what we're seeing is that hospitals may not have the infrastructure to put in this type of system. They might not have the desire to do it right now, but from here on out, I think 100% of the installations will need to be capable of this, and quickly capable of this, not a huge retrofit of all the beds. They're going to want this going forward for all the bids. So while I don't believe that it's going to be a huge part of our market cap, I think it is going to be a key driver for the sales, and that without it we will end up losing sales.
If you should say 3 things that you liked about our cooperation, what would those be?
I always hate to narrow things down to a few things because I feel like you miss some of the more important parts, because what's important to me is not always important to someone else. But I can tell you that the cooperation between our companies, and specifically myself and your team, when it originally was just me taking care of most of it, was the flexibility to have conversations outside of regular business hours for you and for your company. Because in the past, when we've worked with third parties, that level of flexibility, while it does not seem like that big a deal, is a big deal, because fitting 2 schedules together to work with a third party really opens the door to cooperation and gives you the ability to, understand more about the company when it's not just emails going back and forth. There is a certain level of, you have to be face to face, whether it be video or meeting. And while you might not think that that's an important part of it, but that's what starts cooperation. That's what allows you to blossom in your relationship and get more things done until you have that kind of relationship. So the simple flexibility there, the depth of your team. There wasn't a time that we asked for a specific skill set that we weren't able to get it from you, from marketing level things to product/project management, all the way down to the nuts and bolts of the programming. And then from the programming to the support, and more importantly, was the level of research that we were able to get out of you. Now, while it was extremely exhaustive at some times, and 700 slides in some of the things, and we never got through all the slides, there wasn't a time where I couldn't go back and reference all of the research to really understand the market potential, the operations of our cooperation, and the next step of being what the final product was. And just to add to it, we came up with, in the end here, not only a product, but a process for innovation in it, a process for billing, and education and training. Our training materials are probably on par with anything we've built for beds, and we've been doing beds for 30 years. And we only just started into the digital realm. So it's a huge change. And all that was pretty much generated by your team.
Is there any message you would like to send to our potential customers?
Don't hesitate to give them the information, to give direct people the information about your project or the way you'd like to see the cooperation, and be open-minded when they come back to you. If direct people says that they can do something, guaranteed they're going to provide a product beyond your expectation. They will come to you with something that you may not even have thought of, and will have the resource level behind them to provide you with the outcomes you need, and probably some outcomes you didn't think you needed.
Is there any message you would like to send to the team? Because it's not only me, we've done most of the communication together, but it's a lot of people in our company and in LINET who participated. So what message would you send to them?
I appreciate everything they've done. And it's to keep up that kind of cooperation that has developed between all of us, and move that forward in not only your internal teams and the projects you're working on internal to direct people and internal to LINET, but when you work on external partnerships, look at this as being, you were able to technically work with the worst country in the world within the LINET group because we're the most demanding for things. And you actually had to work with the loud American. And as I'm well known for as the loud American, is I don't let things go. And go out there and remember that this was not a project that any other team within our 2 groups was able to do. We literally took something that was accidentally produced and sold, and we had such a limited timeline. And within, what did we sell our first one in 12 months from the start of the contract? And we tripled, didn't we triple sales from what our estimate was?
Yeah.
So that's something to be very proud of. That does not happen in very many cooperations, and it is a big feather in their cap that we were able to put this together and work together so well, with limited to no friction. And it seemed like the only friction was above our heads. It was never within the group.
Okay, thank you very much, Andy. I really do appreciate it. I will stop it and let's move to the other meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Perfect. All right, thanks, man.